government and advertisers.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yousafzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
You are way too smart, way too talented, way too good to be where you are. You are meant to be making way more money, feel way hotter in your body, and having way more fun. Hi, I'm Nicole Mitchell, and I'm a life coach. I help you get hotter and richer. If that is what you're looking for, you can find me at NicoleMitchell.com. My name, Nicole, is with a K, NicoleMitchell.com. You can reach out to me on my website or on Instagram, and I will be happy to be in touch and figure out.
Check. No. Check. Check. Nothing. Check. Again. All right, everybody. Sorry for those technical issues. We are having some issues with the microphones. It always seems to happen on my show. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's George Soros. I don't know. And then we have the music in the background. There we go. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry. Live radio, some technical issues with the microphone once again. But my apologies. Welcome to the show. It is Pushing the Limits on a Monday. Yes, we have a lot to get to. We have a lot to talk about. Of course, I don't want to make this guy waiting anymore. I want to get his thoughts on this another crazy press conference that Donald Trump held earlier today. Of course, I'm talking about the editor-in-chief of Midas Touch, my friend Ron Filipkowski, joining us right now on the show. Ron, sorry to keep you waiting, my friend. How are you?
No problem. Doing well. Trying to keep up with Trump's press conference today at the Kennedy Center.
Ron, I don't even know where to start with you when it comes to this press conference, but let's start here. Why is he talking about his gold curtains, and why is he talking about things that have nothing to do with helping the American people, especially at this time during a war? I mean, you said it yourself on social media. Wow, he's really showing that he cares about the American people. Why is he doing this?
It's bizarre. I mean, he just spent another golf weekend in Palm Beach. You know, he gets on Air Force One, flies back, and he has one big event today. And what's it about? It's about remodeling the Kennedy Center and his White House ballroom. And, you know, you got the war going on in Iran. You got him threatening allies. If they don't help us, you know, he's going to get retribution on them. And you got Republicans in Congress who, by the way, took another day off. They were supposed to come back today after another 10-day break. Since Mike Johnson, they typically like work 2 days and then they take like 2 weeks off, work another day, take a month off. You know, that's his schedule. So today they were finally supposed to be back, but he canceled it because of the rain. So they're all going to come back tomorrow. And they're all freaking out in the media. And they're all over the press about the midterms because it was already looking bleak for them before the war in Iran. And now they're freaking out, basically just saying because of gas prices, you know, and they're just saying, how much longer is this going to last? Because this is kind of screwing us over, you know. And meanwhile, Trump's talking about the ballroom and the marble and the floors of the Kennedy Center that he's going to redo.
It's so embarrassing, Ron. I want to ask you about gas prices quickly here, because when you recall during the pandemic, during Joe Biden's years in office, MAGA Republicans were putting it all on Joe Biden, where obviously he wasn't responsible for starting a pandemic. Donald Trump is literally responsible for getting us into war with Iran. And now all of a sudden it's cause and effect. Oh, don't worry. Everything's going to be just fine. The prices will go down. That's Trump and everybody in his administration and his supporters. It's all fine now. But when Joe Biden was president, it was all directly his fault during a global pandemic. Number one, I find it blatant hypocrisy. And number two, who's to guarantee that prices are going to go down? We don't know how long this war is going to last, right?
Yeah, and all the experts in the oil and gas industry, if you read them, and they're all pretty much across the board, all over the world, they say the same thing, which is even if the war stopped today, it would take months for gas prices to go back down because of the supply chain issues that have been caused already. And the longer this stretches out, which I saw one analyst say that they expect this to go till at least September, you know, this could go well into next year, the economic impact. And it's not just gas. It affects everything. It affects all products. It affects food prices because 1/3 of the world's fertilizer is also being held up that goes through the Straits. So it affects so many things across the board when fuel prices and fertilizer goes up. And that's what Republicans are freaking out about, that this is going to have a dramatic impact. And also, like, none of them were consulted. None of them, you know, were included in the decision. None of them knew about it. The same thing with our allies. They didn't know about it either. And the European countries, we have like 4 minesweepers because we don't really do much minesweeping. But the European countries with the Russians in their backyard, they literally have dozens and dozens of minesweepers. So we have a problem with mines, and you know, Trump is just now like saying we need your minesweepers, and they're like, no, you know. So it's just it's all just half-ass how he goes about everything.
Certainly agree. And now he's asking all countries for help, and he's saying, oh, all those countries, they're on the way. Haven't we heard this before, Ron, with Donald Trump saying they're all on board, they're all on the way? He does this all the time, and there's no evidence to prove it, and he's doing it again.
Yeah, there's so many parallels to the tariffs and to COVID. You know, the way he handled COVID, just flying by the seat of his pants, ignoring experts, doing what he wants to do. Yeah, you know, and the tariffs, I mean, it was easy for him on the tariffs to get out of his huge mistakes because he would throw these tariffs out against a particular country, say it was China, not fully appreciating what that country would do to retaliate. Then that country would retaliate, and then he would just taco it. He would just back off. He would cave again, you know, and so he would kind of undo the mess very quickly, or, you know, he'd do a tariff and the market would tank, and, you know, the next day he'd take it back and the market would come back. But can't get away with that kind of, you know, flying by the seat of your pants stuff on a pandemic. And you can't get away with it on a war, because there's 2 sides to the war and the other side has a say. So even if he ended the war in 2 weeks, like they're now claiming on the shows today, they're saying 2 weeks, as they say with everything, you know. But even if they ended the war in 2 weeks, that doesn't mean that Iran is going to stop disrupting the shipping in the Strait of Hormuz.
Of course. And while all this is going on, Ron, I'm sure you saw Caroline Leavitt making her Fox News appearance today, talking about transgenders and transgender women in women's sports. And I'm like, Are they still talking about that? They're not really talking about the economy. If they are, they're lying about it. They're not telling the truth about what's going on with this war. They're not telling the truth about tariffs and all the other things that are important to the American people. But she's still going on Fox News talking about transgenders.
It shows you the havoc that Trump wrecks inside the Republican Party as they're trying to get their game together, as they're trying to get their game plan together for the midterms. Every day, every week, he throws a sand in the gears of the Republican messaging machine. And so, they were really looking to this SAVE Act to save them. Really, what the SAVE Act is about is trying to save the Republicans from a bloodbath in the midterms by nationalizing and seizing control of the voter rolls around the country in key places. That's really what the SAVE Act is all about. It is not a voter ID bill. And that's why it's annoying when Republicans cite, well, 80% of Americans say they're for voter ID and the SAVE Act is about voter ID. It's not. It's about many, many other things besides that, which also includes seizing the voting data from all the states and municipalities in the United States, which the federal government does not have access to. So we do not want Donald Trump getting a hold of voter data, especially after what we went through in 2020. So they have this bloody fight where they're fighting out with Thune. And the way this ends up coming out is that Thune is refusing to do what they want, which is bust the filibuster. And the SAVE Act is going to be subject to the filibuster rules, meaning they need to get 7 Democratic senators to vote for it, which is never going to happen. Even John Fetterman, of all people, is voting against the SAVE Act. So they know it doesn't have the vote. So now they're talking about Trump wants to add the transgender stuff to the SAVE Act, which has nothing. What does that have to do with voting? It has nothing to do with it, but that's what Trump wants. So now the Republicans have to go through this ridiculous exercise of knowing that the SAVE Act cannot pass and is not going to pass. But that's how they're going to spend this week. That's how the United States Senate is spending this week. They're going to waste all this time on debates and amendments, and they're going to be debating transgender and all this on something they know right now today it's not going to pass. But that's how they're going to spend their time this week. Not on affordability, prices, healthcare. They're going to spend it on this.
And this is another argument. I had this argument on Piers Morgan a few weeks ago where they're talking about how all these undocumented immigrants are going to be able to vote and all this voter fraud. And yet even Turning Point came out with a story, and they did some research saying there was somewhere around 100 undocumented immigrants that have voted illegally in the last decade. And this is not a big deal. This is not a real story. It hasn't affected any elections, but yet the talking point is you guys want the open borders so all these people can vote Democrat, and it's just not true.
Yeah, I mean, there are more people in Florida who voted twice over that same time period than there are illegals voting in the whole United States.
Right.
Because you have a lot of people from Florida that have 2 houses. They live up north and they have a house in Florida, and they'll vote. They end up voting in both places, and they get caught all the time. It happens a lot. I'm sure it happens in other places like Arizona, places where people go back and forth. And it typically almost invariably happens with Republicans more so than Democrats. So, I mean, this is just saying that they want to prevent illegals from they are very well aware that this is not happening, the leadership, but they are doing this to create some kind of crazy issue and to justify their dream of nationalizing elections. They want to take control of local elections offices around the country. And this is just their latest excuse to try and do that.
Yeah, exactly. A couple more quick questions for you. Ron Filipkowski, editor-in-chief, Midas in Touch, joining us on the show. Let's talk about John Fetterman for a moment. I don't know what happened to this man. I don't know if a stroke causes somebody to be a MAGA buffoon, but that's really what Fetterman, in my eyes, has turned into. He makes all these appearances on Fox News now, more than, even in doing his job in D.C., and he made another appearance earlier today. I guess my question to you, Ron, is what the hell happened to John Fetterman when all these people on the left were supporting him after his stroke and defeating Dr. Oz? And what happened to his brain? I don't know what happened to this man. I used to like the guy. I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the stroke, which was a major stroke. You remember, I mean, he couldn't even talk during the debate that he had with Oz. He couldn't even complete a sentence. So it was a really bad stroke. So it very well could have been that. But the other thing is, look, we don't really know. We didn't really know at the begin with a whole lot about Fetterman. I mean, he was the mayor of a small town. He grew up in a wealthy family. I mean, he looks like this like working class schlub who, just got off a shift at the gas station. But he grew up in a wealthy family. He has never had a real job in his life. I mean, he's never served in the military. He's never had a career of any kind. He just grew up with money, and he went to college for a long time. And then he ran for small town mayor, and he became kind of a folk hero because he's like 6'8", weird looking dude, wears the hoodies, wears the jorts, and, so everybody just thought, oh, he's this funny, neat guy. And he became a Bernie Sanders disciple and progressive and said all kinds of progressive stuff. And he had his wife, I think is Egyptian or something, Middle Eastern, Lebanese. And, so then he has the stroke, and all the Democrats rally around this guy. Republicans are calling him every name in the book, Trump included. He's a vegetable. He can't talk. He's finished. He's done. He's toast. We can't elect this man. They called him every name in the book, and Democrats rallied behind him and got him dragged his ass over the finish line. And ever since then, he's just been an ingrate. He's just been a jerk. It goes beyond politics. He's just an ass. Continuing to wear that hoodie, misses votes all the time. He just hates doing his job. He gripes about having to show up to committee hearings. He says they're a waste of time. Most votes are a waste of time. This guy's never had a job. That's the problem. He has no work ethic and no discipline. He's not like the rest of us who have had to show up for jobs over the course of our lives and struggle to pay bills. He's never had to go through any of that. And he appears to not care very much about finding out. So, yeah, he's just kind of camped out. He's become Fox News's useful idiot, where he just goes on there and they bring him on to rip Democrats. And that's what he does day after day. He'll go on 3-4 times a day. He does nothing but criticize Democrats. And, of course, the Fox hosts love it. I mean, they got a Democratic senator who's willing to just go on and criticize Democrats every single day for nothing, half the time for nothing. He's just a moron, really.
A lot of those things that you just said about Fetterman, which, by the way, I agree with, you could also use those same characteristics to describe somebody like Donald Trump. No work ethic, never had a real job where he had to work 9 to 5 in his life, a lot of money, grown into a lot of money. So I can maybe see why Fetterman has some things in common with MAGA Republicans. It makes sense now. All right. On a lighter note, Ron, over the weekend, two people that I am not very fond of. I've debated Mark Levin before. He's a complete fool. And Megyn Kelly's just off her rocker. And Megyn Kelly going on social media, I did find this kind of funny. They've been going at it for a while now. But over the weekend, Megyn Kelly claiming that Mark Levin has, quote unquote, a micro penis. Now, she may be right. I don't know, nor do I really care. But I think it's funny that they're going back and forth now, these two. What do you make of this battle on social media between these two?
Well, Mark Levin is just like crazed over the top Israel supporter and Muslim hater. I mean, like think of the worst guy you can think of and times it by 10. And that's Levin. And Levin's audience is all like old white people. Mm-hmm. I don't think he has anyone who listens to his show that's under 65.
Agree.
And, Megyn's podcast, everybody criticizes Megyn Kelly, for a variety of things, but Megyn's podcast is red hot. I mean, she started it like 3 years ago with nothing, and it's got she has a massive audience. And so she did that all on her own. Nobody helped her. She just started her own podcast. And so I think in the last 3 years, probably her success has gotten under the skin of Levin. And she is a harsh critic of the war. She's sort of like similar position to Marjorie Taylor Greene or Tucker Carlson or several others in the MAGA movement who are like, this is all these wars. We didn't think we were voting for this. This is not what MAGA is about. And they're pissed off at Trump for being obsessed with foreign policy. And of course, this war with Iran, is Mark Levin's dream come true. This is like the greatest thing ever. He basically Netanyahu and him are like the same person. So he got upset and he just went off and he had all these strange, bizarre, people like Levin, they can't help themselves from going to the misogyny, these old conservative white dudes. And, they got to start commenting on her looks and her, hairstyle and her makeup and this and that. And of course he veers off into that. And so I think, after he posted like 60 attacks on Megyn Kelly, I think Kelly was trying to ignore him. And again, I'm not a Megyn Kelly fan, but I think she's the correct person in this fight. So she ended up yesterday saying that he had a micro penis and giving him that nickname micro penis. And she posted a couple of times, and that caused Levin to go to Trump. Levin went to daddy, and he calls up Trump last night and says, you gotta come in on my side. You gotta help me out. And, and so, Trump posted last night this long defense of Mark Levin about what a great guy he is. And he didn't name Megyn Kelly by name, but he said the person who is criticizing him is not a real MAGA person, and don't listen to that person anymore. I mean, it's just, in the middle of a war, that's what Trump is doing last night down at his golf course.
It's so pathetic. It did remind me a little bit of the Stormy Daniels Jimmy Kimmel appearance, where Stormy had those mushrooms, and it reminded me of that a little bit. But you make such a good point, because our soldiers, as you know, Ron, you served honorably. You're a hero, and we have soldiers that are losing their lives by the day. It's tragic. Thousands of innocent people in Iran have lost their lives. Innocent people in Israel. This is all a tragedy. It's awful. And Donald Trump over the weekend decides to play golf, and on the taxpayer dollar at one of his resorts again. And this is the same guy who complained every day about how much golf Barack Obama played. And I'm wondering, we've heard for years, America first, America first. Remember when they had an issue with Joe Biden going to the beach one day, taking a vacation day and going to the beach? Imagine if he did that when he started an ill-advised war. That's what Donald Trump is doing. This is worse.
Well, think about even going further on that. We talked, I think it was last week, about Biden checking his watch at the dignified transfer and how Fox, ran with that for like 6 months, and how Trump wore the hat. Well, he made it even worse. Over the past several days, he did something even worse with respect to that. Imagine if Joe Biden had done this. I mean, Trump takes the photograph of the casket of a dead soldier going by him as he's saluting, wearing his white MAGA hat, and he uses that in a fundraiser. He sends it out as a solicitation and says, he's inviting you to be on his special national security team to get exclusive briefings on the Iran war from him. And if you just make this donation here, Trump will put you on a list to receive special inside information about what's going on in the Iran war. And in that solicitation for money off the war, he included the photo of the dead soldier's casket. Oh. So again, what would Fox News be doing right now if Joe Biden did any of that? It would be 24/7.
Yep.
And yet, we broke the story on the fundraiser. New York Times and CNN and others have picked up on it in the last few days. But that's the kind of stuff that Donald Trump is doing. He doesn't care about the troops.
Fundraising off of dead soldiers. I'm not sure I could think of anything worse than that. Ron, before I let you go, talk to me about your Substack. What are you working on today for your fans of your Substack?
A lot of Iran war stuff, some midterm stuff, a little bit about Kash Patel. There's a couple new stories out. One is in the New York Post, which is Rupert Murdoch's newspaper, who went after Kash. And the other one is in New York Times. So they both came out today and basically talking about how we've had 2 domestic terrorist attacks since the Iran war happened. Both of them were Islamic related. Both of them their motivations seem to have stemmed from Trump's attack on Iran. And the fact that we did not catch these people, both of them had pretty significant histories of the kind of people that the FBI should have been keeping an eye on, but they weren't. And part of the reason is because Kash Patel fired all the agents in the Counter-Terrorism unit, because many of them worked on, were detailed temporarily to work on Jack Smith's investigation. So they were all fired, even though they were just following orders. It wasn't like they were like, hey, can I go work for Jack Smith's team? They were assigned there by their supervisors and they did some work. But when Kash Patel, he decided he was going to fire every single agent who ever worked on any case that Jack Smith was involved in. They fired them all, which included a dozen members of our most elite counter-terrorism team in the FBI. Fired them all. And so we've had 2 terrorist attacks, which have gotten not much publicity. One was in Virginia, and I think the other one was like in Texas, that were Islamic related. They weren't caught, and you have a lot of former FBI agents that are now saying, we're not going to be able to catch the next big terrorist attack. We are not prepared, and that's because of Kash Patel. So I'm including some of that as well.
Wow, that's some heavy stuff. I look forward to reading about that. But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. Ron Filipkowski, everybody. Ron, love you, brother. Thanks for coming on as always. Keep up the great work, and we'll catch up with you next week, my friend. Okay.
Right. We'll see
Thanks,
ya.
Ron. Appreciate it. Ron Filipkowski, everybody, the best Substack on the planet. There's 2 Substacks that I read religiously. By the way, I'm not a religious person. Ron Filipkowski and also my friend Wajahat Ali. I think they have 2 of the best Substacks around. Please check it out. So obviously, I'm going to talk about the Oscars in regards to, the political jokes that were made. And we'll get to the audio clips. And I'm going to talk a little about it because MAGA, they're very upset at Jimmy Kimmel. They're very upset at Conan O'Brien. We'll get to that. But, I usually don't watch the Oscars. I was invited to an Oscar viewing party yesterday at a local casino here in town and went out with some friends and had fun and good food, good drinks, good atmosphere. I don't usually watch the Oscars. I just usually kind of find it a little bit boring, and that's just my personal preference. I'd rather watch a game on TV or something. But one thing I do want to talk about before I get to the political aspect of things is, we lost some really great people. And every single year they roll out the clips, I should say, of all the people, not just famous actors and actresses, but people behind the scenes, directors, producers, writers, you name it. Man, there were a lot of big names that we lost over the course of the last year. Obviously, Rob Reiner and his beautiful wife, were certainly something that was talked about from the get-go. And I thought Billy Crystal did a really good job. It was very emotional. There were people that were very emotional just watching this. And I thought Billy Crystal did a really good job talking about how honorable and what a great career and what a great human being Rob Reiner and his beautiful wife were. And it's so tragic. And then we forget about this sometimes because in everyday life, you forget about Robert Redford. I met Robert Redford in Las Vegas like 20 years ago. You want to talk about an iconic actor and a good, decent human being. By the way, I was on the right side of history politically too, and he wasn't afraid to speak out about it. Just a legend, right? I remember that movie with Demi Moore and Woody Harrelson that was filmed in Las Vegas. A lot of it was filmed at the old Hilton with Robert Redford. That was a wonderful movie. The Last Castle is one of my favorites, but he's been in so many legendary movies in the 70s and 80s. It would take the entire show to name all of them, but Robert Redford and Robert Duvall. So we had a thing in Vegas. It was about 15 or 16 years ago. I was a reporter, I think, for CBS Radio at the time, and it was called Cinevegas. And I met some incredible actors, some incredible people, and Robert Duvall was one of those people. And just to have a few moments just to shake his hand was so cool for me. Obviously, I'm missing a lot of incredible people that we lost over the course of the last year, but those are the top 3 that come to mind for me, and just some iconic figures. And of course, Val Kilmer, right? How could we forget about Val Kilmer? He suffered from throat cancer for many, many years. What an incredible actor Val Kilmer was as well. I mean, gosh, I could go through so many of the wonderful movies that I've lived and watched in the 80s and the 90s as well. But we've lost a lot of iconic figures. And listen, I've never been a big Barbra Streisand fan. I've heard horror stories about how she treats some of her employees, but I will say this. She did a really good job yesterday honoring her late great friend, Robert Redford. I thought it was very emotional and it was from the heart. And I give her a lot of credit for that. So I thought that was really touching. I think it's the best part about the Oscars is every single year when they honor the people that we've lost. I think that's a tearjerker and it's really cool. And that's I'm not going to say it's my favorite part because it's not like a entertaining part, right? But it's it's very honorable what they do in honoring some of the wonderful people in screen that we've lost every year. And unfortunately, it's a part of life. We lose legends every single day. And but I thought they did a really good job there. So obviously, there were some cheap shots taken at Donald Trump last night. That is par for the course for any president. They made jokes about Joe Biden as well. But MAGA people are more upset at this joke that Jimmy Kimmel made than anything that's going on in Iran, anything that's going on with our economy or ICE. But they're very up in arms and their MAGA pantyhose are in a bind because Jimmy Kimmel decided to say this.
As you know, there are some countries whose leaders don't support free speech. I'm not at liberty to say which. Let's just leave it at North Korea and CBS. Fortunately for all of us, there is an international community of filmmakers dedicated to telling the truth, oftentimes at great risk, to make films that teach us, that call out injustice, that inspire us to take action. And there are also documentaries where you walk around the White House trying on shoes. Here are the nominees for documentary short film.
All right, so first of all, that's absolutely hilarious. That was a cheap shot, obviously, at the Melania movie and Melania Trump. Very, very funny. But if you're a sensitive MAGA mushroom gobbler, you probably didn't like that joke, and they're very upset about that. Oh, and Jack Posobiec and all the idiots at Turning Point USA are very upset because Conan O'Brien made this joke about the stupid halftime show that they did with Kid Rock. You remember the whole Super Bowl controversy with Bad Bunny, and you had that pre-recorded lip-syncing idiot Kid Rock, and nobody watched it. I mean, listen. They can talk about how we had 40 million people and blah, 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 blah. They didn't have a fraction of what the Super Bowl halftime show had. And here's Conan O'Brien take a shot at that, which I thought was very funny.
I should warn you, tonight could get political, okay? And if that makes you uncomfortable, there's an alternate Oscars being hosted by Kid Rock. Yeah, it's at the Dave & Buster's down the street. A lot of tickets for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's funny. That was funny. It's a funny, cheap shot at that. And then you have idiots like I said, Jack Posobiec and these right-wing grifters that are a part of Turning Point. That, oh, my God, I can't believe that Conan did. Let me tell you what a scumbag Jack Posobiec is. Okay, he is a piece of human scum. Now, as you know, Conan O'Brien was one of the last people to see Rob Reiner and his wife alive. Rob Reiner and his wife and his son, who I believe was responsible for this double murder, they were hanging out at Conan O'Brien's house because they were having a get-together and a party. And these are just rumors, and this is just speculation that his son was screaming at his parents, and some people had this. Again, we don't know if this is true or not, that people were speculating that somebody was going to call 911 and that Conan in his home said, no, don't call 911. And somehow Jack Posobiec is taking a cheap shot at Conan O'Brien for that. His friend who he lost, who was stabbed to death, and his wife, and Jack Posobiec, who calls himself the wholesome Christian, is on social media. Just because Conan O'Brien made a joke about Kid Rock and the Turning Point USA halftime show, you're going to try to put a cheap shot on one of Rob Reiner's good friends, and try to make Conan O'Brien feel guilty, allegedly, because he didn't call 911 in his house because they were having an argument. What a piece of human crap Jack Posobiec is. He is a fake Christian. And these are some of the biggest snowflakes that you could ever find. You know how they call people on the left snowflakes? No, the people on the right are snowflakes. And this is another perfect example of that. And Jack Posobiec to go down into the waters and to take cheap shots like that. It's so pathetic, and it's so unbecoming, and it's so ignorant. So Javier Bardem had just won an Oscar, and this is where things got a little bit serious. And there were a lot of jokes made, but this was a serious statement about Palestine. And again, they got a huge applause from the room. Have a listen to this.
No to war and free Palestine.
There you go. Standing ovation. Now, look, I don't have a problem with people saying free Palestine, but if, you know, again, I can get into a deeper dive into, okay, how about free everybody? How about free Israel, free Palestine, free everybody, right? But, you know, I don't know Javier. I would imagine that he's probably not very happy with the Israeli government. Neither am I. I think that's very fair, and that is not anti-Semitic to again, be very critical of Benjamin Netanyahu. Listen, a couple of years ago, I was wrong. You know, I remember, you know, I actually owe a caller an apology. And I don't know if he's listening right now because he hasn't called in a while. But I used to have a regular caller on this show. I think his name is John, if I recall. And John would call in and he was very critical of the Israeli government. And this was like maybe a couple years ago. And I got really frustrated with him. I was wrong. I was wrong. And unlike many of these people on the MAGA right and these conservative talk show hosts, I have absolutely no problem admitting when I was wrong. I was wrong, and I owe John an apology. You should be critical of the Israeli government. You should be critical of Benjamin Netanyahu, who I believe is a war criminal. But I am pro-Israeli people. Yes, of course, I believe Israel has the right to exist. Yes, I want people in Israel to be safe. I'm just very anti-Benjamin Netanyahu. And if not for Benjamin Netanyahu, I don't believe we would be in war with Iran right now. But back to the funny stuff. It's very difficult to talk about the war and innocent people losing their lives and then talking about Conan O'Brien making penis jokes. But ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Here's Conan doing his thing, and I thought it was very funny.
We're coming to you live from the Has a Small Penis Theater. Let's see him put his name in front of that.
It's actually pretty funny, and that's a cheap shot at dumbass orange buffoon, you know, trying to, you know, put his name on everything like the Kennedy Center and some other things. It's absolutely insane. Conan O'Brien even making a joke about pedophile protecting, of course, when it comes to the Epstein files and all that stuff. So, you know, Conan O'Brien pretty much touched on everything, including pedophilia. Have a listen to this.
It's the first time since 2012, that there are no British actors nominated for Best Actor or Best Actress. Yeah. British spokesperson said, yeah, well, at least we arrest our pedophiles. So we got that going for us.
True. It's true. They do. Apparently we don't. Listen, all in all, I thought Conan O'Brien did a great job. I've always been a big Conan O'Brien fan. I'm a big fan of Jimmy Kimmel as well. Not really Jimmy Fallon. I never really was a big fan. I never found him to be funny at all. But, you know, I remember I met Conan O'Brien and I went to his show back in New York City when I was in high school. And I loved it then, and I still love Conan now, and I think he's great. I miss Andy Richter. I thought he was the best. And I love Conan, and I think he's the absolute perfect person to be hosting the Grammys. I think Jimmy Kimmel's done a great job, too, in the past. So all in all, I thought they did a really good job at the Oscars. And like I said, they did a wonderful job honoring legends that have lost their lives, including Robert Duvall. And I mentioned some others as well. And I just thought it was very well done. And I thought they did a great job. There wasn't too much politics. There were some cheap shots, a couple funny jokes here and there. And all in all, great job by the Oscars. And I thought they did wonderful. Somebody that didn't do very wonderful this morning. Let's get to Donald Trump. Let's get to the 34 count felon, liable sexual abuser. So as you know, we heard this coming out of Donald Trump when it came to tariffs, that all the countries are going to be on board. Obviously, that was a lie. That wasn't the case. We heard 90 deals in 90 days. That was a lie. Oh, they're all going to come around. They never did. And now we're hearing the same now that Donald Trump needs more help after gas prices are through the roof and America needs oil. And Donald Trump is saying, they're all on the way, ladies and gentlemen. They're coming. By the way, no countries have publicly spoken out. But here's Donald Trump lying again.
Be used very long. Numerous countries have told me they're on the way. Some are very enthusiastic about it, and some aren't. Some are countries that we've helped for many, many years. We've protected them from horrible outside sources, and they weren't that enthusiastic. And the level of enthusiasm matters to me. We have some countries where we have 45,000 soldiers, great soldiers, protecting them from harm's way. And we have done a great job. And when we want to know, do you have any minesweepers? Well, would rather not get involved, sir. I said, for 40 years we're protecting you, and you don't want to get involved in something that is very minor. Very few shots going to be taken because they don't have many shots left. But they said, we'd rather not get involved. I just want the fake news media and everybody else to remember that that was said, because when I've been a big critic of all of the protecting of countries, because I know that we'll protect them. And if we ever needed help, they won't be there for us. I've just known that for a long period of time, just like I knew about the Strait, that it would be a weapon, which I predicted a long time ago, predicted all of this.
By the way, yeah, you predicted everything. What's up with his nostrils? What's up with his nose? Let me tell you, all the numerous countries, they're on the way. Like it's weird noises, by the way. The guy can't even speak, and when he does speak, it sounds like vomit. Like, don't you get the sense from some people when they talk, they just sound like vomit? Donald Trump is one of those people. Don't worry, folks. All the countries are on the way. First, he says all the countries are on the way. Numerous, he said. Numerous countries are on the way. Doesn't name the countries because it's not true. And then a couple sentences later, he says, we strongly encourage other nations to help us out. Listen to this.
We strongly encourage other nations whose economies depend on the Strait far more than ours. We get less than 1% of our oil from the Strait. And some countries get much more. Japan gets 95%. China gets 90%. Many of the Europeans get quite a bit. South Korea gets 35%. So we want them to come and help us with the Strait. We have it in very good shape. The countries, I said, we've already taken care of Iran, but now because of the fact that literally a single terrorist can put something in the water or shoot something or shoot a missile, a small missile, and it's fairly close range because it is a tight area, and which is one of the reasons they've always used that as a weapon. Iran has always used that as an economic weapon.
Listen to this mumbling, bumbling fool. Does anybody know what the hell he's talking about? Does he know what the hell he's talking about? Yeah, I'm sure all these countries are going to come up and help you, Mr. President, just like they helped you when you went after all of our allies with the tariffs. Yeah, I'm sure they'll help you here. I'm sure. And then he's threatening NATO. And now he's apparently saying that the war is only going to last another 2 weeks. That's what he and members of his administration are saying. The reason why? Have a listen to it right here. He's literally talking about missiles and the fact that the Iranian government are running out of missiles. No evidence to prove that, by the way, but listen to this.
We've achieved a 90% reduction in their ballistic missile launches and a 95% reduction in drone attacks. The missiles are trickling in now at very low levels because they don't have too many missiles left. We've also attacked the manufacturing plants, where the places where they manufacture the missiles and the drones. And that's going on today. We just hit 3 of them today.
Can you imagine where he's getting this information from? Like, can you imagine if Pete Hegseth walks into the Oval Office and, Mr. President, I don't think Iran can do this anymore. Oh, why not, Pete? Why not, Pete? We think they're running out of missiles. Oh, really? How do you know that? No, it's just a feeling. It's just a gut feeling that we have. All right, I better say that in our press conference on a world stage. I mean, these people have no clue. And here's the most ridiculous soundbite. And there's plenty of ridiculous sound bites I could play from this press conference earlier today. But as you all know, 8 months ago, we were told that the Trump administration, quote unquote, obliterated their capabilities. Remember? They were gloating about this. Now, I didn't put a grain of salt into anything that they said, but apparently we did it again. This is very, very impressive. I mean, within a span of 8 months, apparently, we obliterated Iran and their nuclear capabilities twice. Apparently, allegedly, that's what Donald Trump is saying. Have a listen to this.
Our powerful military campaign to end the threats posed by the Iranian regime continued in full force over the past few days. They have been literally obliterated. The Air Force is gone. The Navy is gone. Many, many ships have been sunk. They're warfighting ships, but I guess they didn't know how to use them. And anti-aircraft is decimated. Their radar is gone, and their leaders are gone. Other than that, they're doing quite well.
Yeah, okay. So wait a second. We obliterated them this week, but we also obliterated them 8 months ago. Yeah, okay, Mr. President, that makes a lot of sense. Let me be very clear and put this entire war in a nutshell to bed, for lack of a better term. What happened was Vladimir Putin had some phone calls with Donald Trump, knowing that this would benefit Putin. Benjamin Netanyahu has been in constant contact with Trump. Well, Mr. President, you could use the excuse that we're going to attack Iran first. Okay, so first we heard that Israel forced our hand. We heard that from Marco Rubio. Then they walked back that comment. Then Donald Trump said the civilians in Iran needed to, quote, rise up. Nobody knew what that meant. Then when asked about that, he said, well, new regime change. But wait a second, Mr. President, for new regime change, don't you have to have boots on the ground? Then they walked that back. Then we were told about their weapons and their capabilities. But didn't we obliterate their capabilities 8 months ago? But now we're being told that somehow we obliterated their capabilities again. Then when that fell through, now we're what Donald Trump was just talking about, their Marines and their ships, and the war is going to be over in 2 weeks. Forget about that school. Oops, that was a mistake. It's excuse after excuse after excuse with this administration on why we went to war. I'll give George W. Bush credit for something. They just stuck with the lie that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, which was not true. We lost thousands of American soldiers, hundreds of thousands of innocent Iraqis there. We're still paying off that war. It cost us trillions of dollars, and the late Dick Cheney and Halliburton profited off of it. In some ways, it's a similar circumstance here, but they can't even get their lies together. They can't even get their excuses to the lies of this war together. The two people that have benefited from this war the most to this point is Vladimir Putin and Benjamin Netanyahu. And that is not an opinion. That is a fact. Benjamin Netanyahu is going to remain in power. Most people that I know that are from Israel say that most people in Israel do not support Benjamin Netanyahu. And Vladimir Putin is much more financially secure and more power now than he had a month ago because of the oil reserves. Period. End of conversation. What do we get in return? More money, more taxpayer money. Don't you find it very interesting that MAGA Republicans talk about Doge and wasteful spending, and they'll take away your food stamps. They'll take away your welfare. They'll take away your maternity leave. They'll take away your unemployment benefits. They'll take away your Medicaid like that. Snap of a finger. But we can just pay off $2 billion a day on an ill-advised war, and all of a sudden we can print money, because that's what these Republicans are. And I will say this was going on way before Donald Trump got into office. These are who so many of these Republicans are. Notice how I didn't say MAGA Republicans. That is who these Republicans are. They would rather us start an ill-advised war, these warmongers, than take care of the American people. And then this guy has the gall to say America first. There are Trump supporters out there that still believe this is an America first agenda. Are you effing kidding me? Is there any person with an IQ over 20 that thinks what Donald Trump has done just in the last year and a half is an America first agenda? Is there anybody that believes that? Because if you do, you're not very intelligent. At a minimum, you're very ill-informed and you're brainwashed, and you probably get all your information from Newsmax. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I've been doing this on the show regularly, at least over the last few months, agreeing with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, listen, I have very little respect for her because she stood by and she was a Trump mushroom gobbler for years. She has hurt this country with her rhetoric, and she has hurt this country with her voting record. However, lately, Marjorie Taylor Greene has been right on a lot of different issues. She made an appearance on one of the national networks earlier today, and she is right on this war and what is going on in Gaza. Have a listen to what she had to say about the Trump administration giving Americans the wrong information and Donald Trump lying to the American people.
There's a lot more video of what's happening in Lebanon, what's happening in Lebanon is horrific. There was basically a genocide on Gaza, and Gaza was completely destroyed. And it's just wrong to tell Americans or make Americans think that every single Palestinian in Gaza was a member of Hamas. That's just not true. There were tens of thousands of innocent Palestinians murdered by these bombs that were dropped on them. And now the same thing is happening in Lebanon. And you see a lot of that war coverage on what you can find it in the international news, where it's more difficult to find in American news. And, I think if we're not showing Americans what our tax dollars are being used for, and we send $3.8 billion to Israel, and if our money and our weaponry or any type of our ammunitions are being used to murder innocent people, especially women and children, I think that is just outrageous that the American people aren't told that. And so this is the type of coverage that I would like to see more of in the United States, because the American people deserve to know the truth.
I can say here in the Situation Room, Wolf and I have been covered all.
Yeah. So listen, I agree with her 100%. But again, my question to her would be, well, where were you on January 6th when you defended those insurrectionists? Where were you when Donald Trump constantly and still says that the election was stolen? Where were you, Marjorie? Yes, she's right on this issue. I agree with her, but she's also a massive hypocrite. But she is right on this issue. And here is, to me, Marjorie Taylor Greene, again, in my opinion, telling the truth about so many of these Republican members in Congress and the reason why they vote the way they vote and why they are so afraid to criticize, literally, Donald Trump for anything. Have a listen to this.
It's unfortunate to see this Congress sit there and repeatedly bend over backwards to the loyalty test put on them by the White House and the administration. Representatives in the House of Representatives, they are elected to represent their district and the people that sent them, not the administration and not a president. That would be a monarchy. This is not a monarchy. This is a constitutional republic with elected representatives. And so for these members of Congress to totally cast into the wind what their districts want, what's important for their districts, just in order to make sure they don't get a nasty Truth Social post dropped on them, I think is absolutely pathetic and wrong. And so I think that Congress needs to reclaim its authority as the legislature and carry out its business and remember the districts that sent them.
So again, I completely agree with her. It is pathetic. It is wrong. But again, Marjorie's the person who did it for years. She did it for years. And now she's saying in this clip that she can't support the president because he's turned his back on MAGA. But the reality of the situation is he's turned his back on everybody, including even some members of his own family. He's turned his back on some of his donors. He's turned his back certainly on some of his staunch supporters. He's turned his back on our military. He's turned his back on everybody. So she is right when she says this.
I'm just wondering, given what you laid out, do you regret your past support for President Trump, campaigning for him and being so vocal about your support, given your concerns now?
Pamela, I meant everything I said on the campaign trail in 2024. The part that is disheartening to me is that it appears to not only myself, but many others, that President Trump did not mean it. And we are basing that on his actions and his decisions and the priorities that he has made important and first to him, which are 100% departure of what we campaigned on in 2024. So I would, to answer that, nothing has changed about me. I'm America first. I'm conservative. I have a voting record to prove it, but I cannot support this president when he completely turns his back on MAGA and what he sold to the American people for so many years in his campaign promises in 2024.
This is what's really interesting about what Marjorie just said. If he sold them over many years, why did you believe him? Back in 2016, he ran on two things, two very distinct things. And I'm sure you all remember. Number one, we're going to build a wall and Mexico is going to pay for it. We didn't build the wall. He built maybe like 6 or 7% of the wall, and Mexico didn't pay $1 for it. He ran on that. He also ran on hiring a special prosecutor to go after Hillary Clinton. How did that work out? Did he ever do that? No. So why would people like Marjorie Taylor Greene believe him now? I mean, listen, I'm glad she's speaking out now. The only reason why she's speaking out now is because he didn't support her run for office again. She knew she couldn't win, so then she decided to tell the truth. I'm not trying to give Marjorie Taylor Greene any credibility because I don't think she has any, but doesn't mean she's not right. And she talks about how MAGA has turned into some deranged, perverted version that she doesn't want. I think it was always deranged and perverted. That's just my personal opinion. But here's Marjorie Taylor Greene's thoughts on what MAGA is today.
This is absolutely absurd. And it's 100% a betrayal to what MAGA was supposed to be when we voted in 2024, and it's turned into some perverted, deranged version of MAGA now that nobody wants. And a lot of people are just like, this doesn't make sense. And I'll go further, Pamela. We love our military, and God bless the men and women serving, and we love their families. And we do not want to see flag draped coffins coming home in a war that does nothing for our own homeland. And then I want to add on something else. How insulting is it to Americans that the GOP can't even fund Homeland Security right now, our own government that protects our own homeland, while they're waging some war like 6,800 miles away in a country that none of us have ever been to, against a foreign people that none of us know, killing many of these people, even to the point of killing their children. It's just absolutely absurd.
I mean, she's right. She's right. I do not disagree, Marjorie, even though I think you're a despicable and phony human being. I don't disagree with you. You do seem to be like, for the most part, you're on the right side of history now in calling out Trump. But I've been saying these same things for years, and people like you continued to defend him. You were wrong. And it is interesting because if you are on social media, you will see that I'm starting to do long-form debates. But many of these MAGA supporters don't want to debate me on the Trump administration. They just don't, because it's indefensible. They want to get into word games with me. They want to get into the weeds with me. But what they can't do and what they won't do is defend this war or Donald Trump's record. Their excuse is, well, I believed him when he said he was going to do this, this, and this. Oh, really? Why? Many of these people that are going to debate me or that have debated me do not want to talk about the Trump administration. I will not let them get away with it. And while they want to play word games with me and talk about fallacies and talk about your subjective opinions, and they want to play word games and they want to talk about getting into the weeds with me and they want to defend their religion and to hide their bigotry, I will not let them get away with their record of still supporting Donald Trump and the fact that they cannot defend his policies. They can't defend his immigration policy. They can't defend his foreign policy. They cannot defend the economy and the tariffs. They can't defend virtually anything that Donald Trump is doing in dismantling this country. But I will hold them to account, and I will continue to hold them to account. Programming note for you. You guys know who Parker and Dean are. They're pretty popular, young, early 20s on the left. They've both done my show. Well, I'm debating somebody on the right. That is some people are saying he is the right version of Parker and Dean. His name is Kai Schwimmer. Now, he's going to be doing a live debate with me on Friday at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Here's the good news. It's going to be live on all my social media platforms. So you're going to be able to watch it on all my social media platforms, including YouTube, including Twitter, everywhere on X, on TikTok. So I'll be debating Kai Schwimmer one-on-one. It'll probably be about an hour and a half debate. We're going to be talking about immigration, which I'm very comfortable debating, and Donald Trump's policies that I think are failing the American people. I'm going to get into it with him. It's going to be a really good debate. So that will be Friday. Tomorrow in studio. This is going to be a lot of fun. A couple of the organizers of the No Kings rallies are going to be joining us. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and they'll be taking some phone calls. So we'll have a lot of fun with them. But right now, I'm asking you guys to be a part of the show. There's a reason why this is one of the most interactive shows that you'll find anywhere, because I almost always, every day, dedicate the show to taking phone calls and giving you guys an opportunity and a platform to call into the show and speak your mind. I want to know, what do you think about Donald Trump earlier today talking about his golden drapes? That's really caring about the American people, isn't it? What do you think about Donald Trump talking about the golden drapes today? What do you think about Donald Trump today begging for help from the same countries who he's been attacking for years? Now, all of a sudden, he wants their help. What do you make about the fact that they're claiming that they obliterated Iran's nuclear capabilities for the second time in 8 months? What do you make about that? We played some clips from Marjorie Taylor Greene. And what do you make about the snowflakes on the right that are so upset that Jimmy Kimmel and Conan O'Brien made a few jokes about Donald Trump and Melania Trump? They are livid. They're more upset at the jokes that were made at the Oscars than our brave men and women in uniform that are fighting this ill-advised war overseas. And some of them coming home in caskets. But they seem to be more upset and tweeting out about a few jokes, innocent jokes that were made from Conan O'Brien and Jimmy Kimmel. Number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, and we want to get some new people to call in, 702-221-7283. And again, the number to call if you want to be a part of the show. If you're a Trump supporter, I will gladly take your phone calls. 702-221-SAVE is the number to call. Again, that number, I'll say it slowly so my special MAGA people can listen. 702-221-7283. 702-221-7283. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to take a very quick 90-second break. And when we come back, we will be getting to all your phone calls, okay? I promise. So we'll take a quick break. Stick with me. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Here's the deal. The country's a mess, and America's youth is stuck at the center of a tug-of-war between propaganda, billionaires, and political clowns who think TikTok is a national security threat, yet can't open their own email. But the real threat that keeps them up at night isn't TikTok. It's the power of the youth vote. And that's what the Unfuck America tour is after. We're traveling the country, hitting campuses and cities, exposing the right wing's playbook and calling out all the tricks they use to hook young people. We saw the youth vote shift in 2024, and if we don't reclaim that momentum now, we lose the future, our future. We're not bankrolled by billionaires, corporations, or dark money. We're backed by regular people like you, who won't sit back while the rich strip this country for parts. We need you to help us stay on the road to push back against the misinformation machine. Click the link in the description or head over to unfuckamericatour.com to donate, because nobody else is coming to fix this mess.
Hey everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
It is Pushing the Limits on a Monday. Thank you so much for joining us. Obviously, we've been covering quite a bit. Donald Trump's press conference earlier this morning, which was off the rails crazy. We're covering that. Talking a little bit about the Oscars last night, where MAGA Republicans are really upset. They're tweeting more about a couple innocent jokes that Jimmy Kimmel and Conan O'Brien made than an ill-advised war in Iran. So I do find that interesting as well. And of course, we're taking your phone calls at 702-221-7283. Let's start off with Casey. Casey is first up on PTL. Hello, Casey.
Oh my God, Brian, I'm first. That's pretty cool. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Casey. What's on your mind today?
Well, the Oscars are kind of secondary what's going on now, but it's Jimmy Kimmel I loved, and Conan O'Brien I loved. What would you like to talk about?
Oh my gosh, open forum. I would love to talk about how beautiful the weather is in Las Vegas. It is quite pleasant.
Well, let's not go there. It's not good here. But
where do you live? Where do you live, Casey?
New York.
Oh boy, how's Mob Donnie doing out there in Manhattan?
I
How's
think
he doing?
He's doing great.
Yeah,
I think
good.
he's doing fantastic.
Good.
Actually, I don't.
You know, I'll say this about New Yorkers, okay? I like that they are in your face, tell it like it is, honest, truthful people. I've always liked that about New Yorkers. They are who they are, and I feel like the West Coast people are phony and fake. Would you agree with that?
No.
No.
I like West Coasters.
All right.
I have children and grandchildren on the West Coast. So.
All right. Well, listen, I'm not saying everybody's like that, my friend, but I certainly am saying that I think there's a phoniness to people on the West Coast, and I think there is a genuine, honest, sincere East Coast mentality. But well, I appreciate you calling in, sir. Thank you very much. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Chris. Chris, what's going on?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Hey, Brian. So, yeah, I know it's been a while since I've called in and work long hours, but anyway, so I just wanted to point something out really quick, off topic, real quick, and then after that, of course, I'll get to the topic at hand.
Okay.
So with these MAGA people, unfortunately, as long as Trump caters to their racism, their bigotry, their hatred, like their racism, like everything, and their insecurities, as long as he caters to that, they'll never turn on him. They are too set in their ways.
I agree.
To get them to change their ways. A lot of these people, they'd say, "Oh, I'll die for my beliefs." They would rather die than admit they were wrong about Trump.
So
That's just how some of these people.
You said something very interesting that I obviously agree with. And Chris, I don't know if you recall, but I did a live debate in Washington, D.C. a few months ago. Tim Pool, Myron Gaines, and Alex Stein. And there was a woman that was asking questions. She was a huge Trump supporter. And I actually found out she dates Michael Flynn's son. So you want to talk about a bat-you-know-what crazy situation that is. But anyway, she claimed that liberal men have low testosterone. And then she ad hominem attacked me. And I say to those people, you support the guy that wakes up in the morning, if you want to talk about testosterone, he has man boobs. He puts on 8 layers of orange makeup. He has 4 hair transplants, fake teeth, fake tan, and he is more insecure than your typical 12-year-old girl. And you want to talk about liberals having low testosterone when your poster child and the leader of the free world in the Republican Party is probably the most insecure man baby on the planet.
Tell me about it. But anyway, so now to the topic here really quick, and I'll let you get going because I got stuff to take care of.
Yes.
But
how dare you?
So
my show should be number one. How dare you? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Go ahead,
anyways,
sir.
So about his Trump asking for help from our allies, he has the nerve after he literally attacks them during a NATO meeting or whatnot. He attacks them and he goes, "Oh, hey, can you help me out? Can you help me out?" I just wonder, is he? I don't know whether to think he's on drugs.
I don't know what, and I appreciate the call, my friend. We'll let you get back to work. I don't know what medication he may or may not be on. He's a narcissist and he's not very intelligent and he's mentally ill. I mean, he belongs in a mental institution, if not jail. I appreciate your call, my friend. 702-221-7283, 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to Curtis. Curtis is next on PTL. Hello, Curtis.
Hello.
What's up, Curtis? What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian. I haven't been on in a while, but there's quite a few things, and it's completely absurd that Trump continuously, alienates our allies. Then he turns around in the same breath. It's like, oh, well, we need your help. And it's like you literally have spent the better part of the last year and a half defecating on our allies, telling them how worthless they are.
Yeah.
But hey, by the way, come bail me out of a war that I chose and I didn't see things through. And I jokingly put in the comment section that Netanyahu probably just went ahead and gave him an imaginary award with empty comments and compliments, enticing him to enter a war that he knows that we can't win.
My friend, here's what sums up Donald Trump in a nutshell in his presidency. He is literally fundraising off of a picture of him wearing that baseball cap, saluting a soldier who lost his life in a coffin. Donald Trump is fundraising off of that picture, as Ron Filipkowski correctly pointed out earlier in the show. That is who Donald Trump is. They fundraise and they use these people as political pawns. The draft-dodging coward himself, who couldn't even take off his baseball cap to honor these fallen soldiers. He is a horrific human being. And sadly, a lot of people in the MAGA base are just really awful people. These are some of the worst people that America has to offer. I saw a picture of Katie Miller, who is Stephen Miller's wife. Laura Ingraham was the second person. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to remember who the third person was in this photo, and I'm just forgetting at the time. But these are Trump mushroom gobblers who will do and say anything to protect Donald Trump. And they're just awful people. And we have to stop normalizing these people. They're very dangerous for America. And unfortunately, they have a platform. And, you know, I think of them as I would think of like an Alex Jones. I think of them as I would think of, you know, a Candace Owens or a Jesse Waters or a Greg Gutfeld. You know, I saw that Greg Gutfeld is coming to Las Vegas and they're charging for tickets to see that guy. You couldn't pay me enough to see that little weasel. Okay, I'd rather put my genitals through a meat grinder than have to sit through Greg Gutfeld talking about anything. And people are paying to see this guy. Listen, I don't know, man. We're at a weird time right now in society in this country, and I don't know what else to say to that.
Well, I just want to give you kudos on the whole Paul Bondar thing. I actually think I lost about 1,000 brain cells listening to him because you clearly gave him facts and insert foot here.
Yeah.
That's all he could do, because that is just a commonality that a lot of Trump supporters have. They're like parrots. They can mimic words, but they far and few in between understand what those words are.
It's funny. I haven't heard from the Paul Bonder campaign. I wonder why I haven't heard from them. I don't know. But hey, man, I appreciate your call, and it's good to hear from you, man. And thank you for calling in. Call back soon, okay, bud?
Thank you, Brian.
All right, thank you. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Brandon. Brandon is next up on PTL. Hello, Brandon. Brandon, go right ahead.
Hey, Brian. I hope your weekend was good. You know what was funny? Like, I see people like Ben Shapiro, Ted Cruz, Mark Levin, and others. They're so big on cutting back Social Security, screwing over the elderly, restricting Medicaid, Medicare, food assistance to the less fortunate. But they have no problem shipping billions of dollars overseas to Israel for Netanyahu and his genocidal government. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous.
So, Brandon,
the same people.
But Brandon, can I ask you a question? By the way, for those of you that don't know, I enjoy talking to Brandon. Brandon used to be a Trump MAGA supporter. He is no longer, which I'm happy to hear. So, Brandon, I want to ask you a question. We might disagree on this, which is okay. There are a lot of people that use the term genocide when talking about the Israeli government. Now, as you know, Brandon, we probably agree more than we disagree on the Israeli government. I am not a defender of Benjamin Netanyahu, and I do believe he's a war criminal. The reason why I don't call it genocide is because there's a lot of Palestinians and people, from Iraq, from Iran. There's a lot of people that live in Israel, and they're allowed to live there freely. That's why I don't think it's genocide. Are there war crimes committed? Absolutely. Does that make sense? That's the reason why I'm not ready to call it that, because I'm not sure it is. What do you think of that?
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, it's just like the way, the way people are being treated in Gaza, just like they're confined, like starving them. I guess you can say it kind of feels like genocide. I guess maybe you're right. Maybe it's not.
Well, it's war crimes. I mean, we can agree that the war crimes committed. Yeah. And just like the United States, obliterates a bunch of, 7 to 12-year-old girls at this school. I would say that Israel's committed similar atrocities, and Benjamin Netanyahu is beyond corrupt. I mean, certainly we could definitely agree with that. And I don't think we get into war in Iran if Donald Trump's never president, or if Benjamin Netanyahu's not pushing us.
Absolutely. I mean, they have our hooks in us for like generations now, with all the AIPAC money and all like people like Ted Cruz and Huckabees and all the rest of them. They'll do whatever Netanyahu wants. Our people are going to go die for Netanyahu, because for the war that he's been wanting for 30 years now. It's insane. It's like what happened to America first.
Yeah, well, I don't think Donald Trump ever meant it when he said America first. It was Donald Trump first, Brandon. And it's good to hear from you, and I really do appreciate your call, Brandon. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I appreciate you. I believe we only have one phone line open, which is very, very rare. Number 702-221-7283. 702-221-SAVE is the number to call. Why? Let's see, who are we going to next? Let's go to Dave. Dave is next on PTL. Hey, Dave, what's up? Hi.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi, Dave. Go right ahead.
You can hear me?
Yes, go right ahead.
I have a question. Like, what's your opinion on pronouns?
Is that a serious question?
Yes, it's serious.
Okay. So I'll answer your question. Okay. But is that top priority for you? Is that important? That's
I
important.
also have another question.
Okay, but hold on. Why is that important to you? What pronouns? Why is that important to you? How does that affect you negatively in your life?
Because people make fun of me for it. Yeah.
Okay, so are you going to be a serious caller or are you going to be a jackass? You have a
I'm
choice.
serious. What are you
Okay,
talking
pot him down.
about?
Pot him down for a second. So, Dave, here's the deal. I know you're a Trump mushroom gobbler, and you're probably 22 going on 8, and you're not very mature, and you're obviously not very intelligent. But I'm still going to answer your very stupid question, okay, Dave? And I'm going to entertain it because I'm in a really good mood today. I had a really good weekend. So, Dave, I don't care whether I call somebody he or she. What you should care about is the war in Iran, our economy, and the fact that we are headed in the wrong direction on a number of different fronts. So I'm going to try to ask you a serious question, and I hope I get a serious answer, Dave, okay? Let's try to be serious, okay? Let's try. Okay, hold on. Let's try to be serious. Okay? How do pronouns affect you negatively in your life, and why is that important to you?
Like when I go to Walmart, sometimes there's like one lady, and I sometimes like mispronoun her or something, and like she gets mad at me.
Why are you talking to her?
Because I asked for help. I needed to know where something was.
You didn't know where something was, and why not just say, "Excuse me, can you please help me with something"? Why do you have to call her ma'am or sir?
Because she looks like a woman.
Okay, so who cares what she looks like? Why not just ask for your help and leave? Why not stop being a doofus and just go up to her or him and say, "Excuse me, can you help me with something?" Is that so hard for you to do, or do you have to obsess about he or she? Ma'am, how old are you? Miss, how old are you? How old are you, ma'am? I'm asking you, ma'am, how old are you?
It's not, ma'am. It's
Miss?
her.
Okay, have a nice day. Have a nice day. 702-221-7283, 702-221-7283. Is he still on the line? Ma'am, are you still on the line? How old are you? Okay, so let's learn a little bit about you, Dave. How old are you?
Why
And
are you asking for
how old are you?
age?
Where do you go to school? Because I want to make sure you're old enough to call into the show. How old are you? How old are you?
First of all,
Answer
I
the
don't have to give out that.
Okay, well, guess what? Then I don't have to take your phone calls anymore
Okay,
either.
fine.
Tell me. Okay, how old are you?
I'm 23.
Okay,
23.
thank you. Okay, I'm sure you are because you act like you're 8. I'm sure you're not 23. But did you go to college? Did you go to school, Dave? Do you have a degree
No,
in
I'm
anything?
waiting to go to college.
You're waiting.
Yeah.
Why are you waiting to go to college?
Because, I'm waiting for my application to be
Okay.
accepted.
All right. Stupid question. Nobody cares. Are you a Trump supporter? Did you vote for Donald Trump?
Only on some days, to be honest.
Okay. Who did you vote for? I didn't ask you on some days whether you support him or not. That wasn't the question. Focus. Who did you vote for in November? Was it Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? Or did you not vote at all? Answer the question.
I think it was Donald Trump.
Okay.
I voted
Yeah.
for Donald
Yeah. I think it was Donald Trump too. What has he done good? What are you happy with? What has he done well?
Let's think here.
Yeah. I know that's really hard for you to do, but go ahead.
I know.
Try to think. Yeah. What has he done well?
fine.
Why did you vote for him? There must be a reason why you voted for him, right? Why did you vote for him?
Well, we're bombing Iran right now.
Oh, and why and why are we doing that? So wait a second. You voted for him. You voted for him because you wanted war?
Well, it was because like a ton of people were telling me to vote for him. It was like kind of
You voted for him. You voted for Trump because, quote, a lot of people told you to vote for him. Well, it sounds like you're an independent thinker. That's nice to know. What has he done well?
The craze,
Okay, what has he done well? What is it? Can you try to be serious for a moment, sir?
I'm being serious.
Okay, then okay, thank you. Let's try really hard together. Okay, what are things that he's accomplished, or can you name me some things he accomplished in the first administration? Some policies that you like. Can you name me one?
ICE raids,
ICE raids are not policy. Can you name me a policy that you like? We can happily talk about ICE if you would like to, but I need to know, like, what policies do you like?
I like the first one, you know.
The first one is not a policy. Can you please name me one policy that you like without Googling it on your
Can you give me,
Obama
like, a
phone?
multiple choice one?
No,
Like, I
no.
forget.
Okay, I'll give you a multiple choice. Are you an idiot? Are you a moron? Or are you both? There's your multiple choice question. Now,
I think I'm gonna have to go see on
if
this.
people told you to jump off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge if a lot of people told you to do so? That's not an excuse to vote for somebody. You
No,
can't
that's not really
you
smart.
can't name me
I know
one.
it's not
Yeah, it's not
dumb.
really smart to vote for somebody just because people tell you to either, dumbass. Name me one policy that you like. One. You can't even name one? How stupid are you?
Foreign policy.
Why
Foreign
can't
policy.
foreign policy is not a policy, dumbass. Be specific. Name me a policy. If you ask me right now, what policy did you like under Joe Biden? I'll give you some. The Chips and Science Act. I like that policy. I like the policy of student debt forgiveness. I like the bipartisan infrastructure bill. I like the fact that Joe Biden passed bipartisan gun legislation. There's plenty of things that Joe Biden did I like. There's some things I don't like, but at least I can name a few policies, and I could have named that when I was 18 years old too. Why is it you're so stupid you can't name one policy, but you call into this show and you're so concerned about he, she pronouns? Dude, you're not a serious person. Why don't next time you call into the show, you ask me a real question and we could have a real conversation?
The climate energy policy.
What's the climate energy policy? Educate me on that, sir. What is Donald Trump's
Oh,
climate
I looked
energy
it up,
policy?
to be honest.
No, don't look it up because you have no idea what you're talking about because you're an
abortion
idiot.
policy. Abortion, that's one I know.
Okay, let's talk. That's one. Okay, so what's the abortion policy? Tell me. What's Donald Trump's abortion policy?
Making abortion like not a thing or like banning it.
No. So Donald Trump left it up to the Supreme Court to do. So you're wrong about that. It's not Donald Trump's policy. It's not a policy. So you're wrong.
AI said-
I don't care what your stupid AI says. Donald Trump helped appoint Supreme Court justices, and the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. Donald Trump did not do that, and he decided to leave it up to the states, and you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Dude, how stupid are you? How's how dumb, really? How do you have parents like that have raised you? How stupid are you? Did you really vote? Be honest, Dave. Dave, I don't even know if that's your real name. Be honest with me. Did you really vote? Don't lie.
Yes.
Okay, so you voted for Trump. Don't lie. Okay, you did. Give me a real reason why you voted for him, and don't be stupid and don't make jokes because you're not funny. I'm funnier than you too. Why did you vote for him?
You're not.
Why did you vote for him?
Just because like I voted for him the previous election.
And why? Give me a reason. That's not a reason. Give me a reason. Give me a real reason.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what?
I got to dig deep down and find out why I voted for
You can't think and you can't give one reason why you voted for Donald Trump, and you call into a political talk show? Who's your favorite radio host, by the way? Besides me, of course. Who's your favorite host? Where do you get your news from? Because you sound like a very informed person. Where do you get your news from?
The radio like an old head, but
Okay. Well, I also do a podcast, and I'm on YouTube and Facebook. So who do you listen to? I want to know where you get your what?
The Joy FM.
Okay, I don't know what that is or who that is. So, Dave, is there anything else really important or intelligent you'd like to share with us, or can I get 5 minutes of my life back?
Invade the whole world. We have the most powerful military. Let's just invade the whole world. Take over.
That's a very intelligent take, sir. I think people should invade your home and send you to Gaza because you're such a dumbass. Thanks for calling into the show. Holy schmagoli. What an idiot. All right, let's go to Nelson. Speaking of idiots. Hi, Nelson. Thanks for calling in. I guess you enjoy the punishment. What's on your mind today?
Hey, what's up, Brian? How are you, bro? How you been?
Terrible, because you just called in. What's on your mind, Nelson? I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
That's a joke or not? But
Go ahead.
Unfortunately, I think you're being serious, and that's unfortunate.
I'm partially serious, but prove me wrong. Be a good caller today, Nelson. What's on your mind today?
Well, I'm afraid I'm gonna try, but because our views don't align, I'm afraid that's probably not going to be the case. Anyways, what's your stance on arguing from a point of authority?
Give me an example of when I've done that, and then we can discuss.
Yeah, sure. So I know I'm not being very specific, but like, for example, I remember you mocking Charlie Kirk for debating, college students and maybe not people.
So first of all, it wasn't. Hold on. Let me correct you. I
ahead.
wasn't mocking Charlie Kirk. What I was doing was pointing something out. That Charlie Kirk, and he's not the only one, Ben Shapiro is another name that comes to mind. They consider themselves, or in this case, sadly, Charlie once considered himself to be a great debater. You're not a great debater if you're not willing to at least debate people your own age and people that are prepared. When you debate a bunch of 18 and 19-year-old, some of whom are ill-informed liberals that are not very good at explaining their argument, that doesn't make you a good debater. But Charlie Kirk dodged people. People can say what they want about me, but I don't dodge anybody, and I will debate anybody. I don't care what their fans think about me. In fact, I think it's funny when I debate these people like the Andrew Wilsons of the world and the Jay Dyers of the world and others. You think I care what their fans think about me? I could care less. The fact of the matter is that I will be face to face and I will debate anybody. And I'm not saying I'm a brilliant debater. I'm not gloating. All I'm saying is if you're going to call yourself a good debater, at a minimum, you have to be willing to debate people your own age or older. And Charlie Kirk rarely did that. Ben Shapiro almost never does that. That's not mocking them. I'm just pointing something out.
I mean, you know, I think he has debated certain people, but can I ask you this?
Who has he debated? Who?
Say it again.
Who? What certain people are you referring to? Who did he debate?
Yeah, he debated certain people
Who?
On the Charlie Kirk show. I
Who?
remember he debated
You don't remember.
a secretary that was working under the administration of Bernie Sanders. She was a black woman, but I don't know her specifically.
Okay, so you're claiming
he debated a professor. Okay. I remember he also debated Hassan Piker, for example.
He did debate Hassan Piker. So of all the people that he's debated, and by the way, I never said that he never debated anybody.
No, I'm sure. I know that.
The overwhelming amount of people that he debated were people that were half his age, that were 18, 19 years old. And I lose a lot of respect for people like that. So anyway, go ahead.
Sure. I understand that. But do you think age is correlated with intelligence?
I think sometimes it has to do with life experience and people that are not prepared to have a debate. You want to debate people that are a little bit older, that are have a little bit more experience. There are, of course, always going to be exceptions to the rule. And there are plenty of people, I'm sure, that are 18, 19, 20 years old that are extremely intelligent, that are great debaters. But a lot of the people that Charlie Kirk debated were not. So I don't know why we're really talking about Charlie Kirk. I've already forgotten about him by now, and I don't think about him at all. So let's move on to another topic. Otherwise, I got to move on to the next caller.
I'm
done.
Okay, I do want to say. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I want to say this. I got one more question. I apologize. I want to say this. You know, with the whole arguing from a point of authority, right? I remember you did say that. I think you also said something about Charlie Kirk about you didn't respect him because he was a college dropout, right?
So we're still on the topic. So you want to ask me a second question about Charlie Kirk?
Yeah. It's a second question about him. It's a second question. Right. Correct.
First of all, I never said I didn't respect him because he didn't go to college. There are plenty of people that have not gone to college that I have plenty of respect for. I didn't respect the fact that he told everyone else not to go to college. He told people not to get educations. That's what I didn't respect him for. So once again, you're misquoting what I said, and that is not what I said. I have a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for. Will you listen? I have a lot of respect. Will you listen? I have a lot. Stop talking. I have a lot of respect for certain individuals that have done a lot with their lives that have not gone to college. You are not factually accurate. Charlie Kirk went around the country.
But you know why I say that, though, right?
No, I have no idea why you're even bringing up Charlie Kirk. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about today. I'm wondering why.
A couple weeks ago, a month and a half ago, right? I remember you said, "Hey, Nelson, do you have your medical degree?" You know,
because you were talking about disease, and we were talking about medical procedures, and you don't have any experience to get the hell out of here, dude. Stop calling in and talking about Charlie Kirk. I don't care about Charlie Kirk. I don't miss Charlie Kirk. I'm sorry what happened to Charlie Kirk, but I'm not talking about Charlie Kirk anymore, okay? I'm moving on, and I suggest you do too, because Erica Kirk already decided to move on. Maybe you should as well. 702-221-7283, 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to Debbie. Debbie is next on PTL. What's up, Debbie?
Hi, Brian. You know, I watched this weekend CNN, and they interviewed the president from Ukraine. I don't want to mess his name up because I can't pronounce it. And he was talking about how he would help America with this Iran war.
You're talking about Vladimir Zelensky, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that he said that his intel was giving him a lot of information about how Iran has their what do you call those drones?
Yeah.
That they're very advanced in their drones,
Mm-hmm.
and that and also that Russia is backing away from the fight with Ukraine. That they're gaining momentum over there too. So Zelensky is offering his services to United States,
Which I think, and then, by the way, he already has, and I do find it quite interesting. If we could
told to us Americans about this either.
Yeah.
You know,
We're also, by the way, sorry to interrupt you. We're also going to be putting the YouTube super chat comments up there in real time as we go, where your questions and comments will be shown, as we have one right there underneath me, as you can see. So there. First of all, Zelensky's a smart guy, and he understands that this war is helping Vladimir Putin. It's strengthening Putin and his capabilities, certainly financially. And it's funny because did Donald Trump or J.D. Vance thank Vladimir Zelensky? Did they thank Zelensky for his assistance? No, of course they didn't. Of course they didn't.
No.
Yeah.
And he said that Russia and China, they're all in cahoots, and they're going to help Iran with this war.
I agree.
You know,
I think that is very plausible, and I actually believe that could happen. And welcome to the golden age of making America great again. Thank you for the call, Debbie. I do appreciate you. Your questions and comments will continue to be shown on our screen with YouTube super chats. Let's go to Casey. Casey's next up on PTL. Hello, Casey.
Hey, Brian. Always good to talk to you. Well, speaking of Jews, I don't know if you saw, but ruled by Republicans for over 25, close to 30 years in Boca Raton, Florida, has turned blue. And their MAGA is going nuts, saying, because it was only won by, I believe, like 6 votes. And they're like getting every lawyer involved down there because, I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with Boca is. You know where Boca is down in South Florida?
Boca Raton, yeah, I've been out there. It's been a little while, but I have been there, yes.
Right. So, I mean, I never knew that it was been, the mayor has always been Republican for 28 years, a little under 30 years.
Yeah.
And finally turned blue. So, I'm not getting, I mean, I see little glimmers of hope around the country and of we win in these small elections. I know the mayor isn't the Senate or the House, but just shows that I guess people are coming out to vote. I mean,
I hope so. I hope so. And listen, I like what you're saying, and I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I think you would also agree with me. We cannot be complicit, and we can't not assume. People need to get out. They have to vote. They have to make sure that Democrats take over the House and the Senate. They have to make sure that we never as a country allow a MAGA Republican ever to become president of the United States when you look at the damage that this man has done. So I hear you, and I don't disagree with you, and I'm seeing a lot of good things, and I'm looking forward to the No Kings rallies. I was actually asked to speak in Las Vegas at the No Kings rally, but instead I think I'm going to be in San Diego, and I'm going to be speaking out there. But yeah, I mean, you see what I'm saying? Let's just not be complicit about this, right?
All right. Hey, how's Robbie doing?
Robbie Roadsteamer, he's doing okay. He's got a few health problems in there, but he's doing all right. He's got a couple. My understanding is he has a couple civil lawsuits. I want to get him back on the show. Robbie's great. I love Robbie.
So we have to bubble wrap him like Betty White, or what?
Well, I certainly hope not. But Robbie's a great guy, and I'm lucky to consider him a friend. In fact, I'm going to be out there at the Arizona State campus next week, and I think Robbie might be coming out. I'm not sure. I got to find out with the UNF America tour. I know I'm going to be debating some people with Destiny out there, so that should be fun. All right, thank you for the call, sir. Number to call, by the way, if you want to be a part of the show, is 702-221-SAVE. I think we have one phone line open, 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to Joseph. Joseph is next. What's up, Joseph?
Hey, Brian.
Hey.
All right. Here's my piece. Hearing about Jimmy Kimmel and Conan O'Brien make those jokes about Trump and Epstein and the Free Palestine stuff basically goes to show that I enjoyed it. It's way better than that. I bet you saw that propaganda video that the White House made using clips of movies and video games, stuff like that.
I did see that, yeah.
I mean, that video that the White House made, I find it pathetic and disgusting that they're using Christopher Reeve's dialogue from Superman about truth, justice, and the American way, using anime like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Transformers and stuff like that. I find it, like I said, it's very disgusting that they're using those kind of films. That they don't care if they're
Chris Reeves.
or they.
Yeah, and Chris Reeves was a hero. The stuff he did to help so many others that went through the hell that he had to go through. I have so much respect for Chris Reeves, the late Chris Reeves, and of course his wife as well, who passed away. I thought the documentary they did about them was a tearjerker a few years ago, and yeah, to use his name, Donald Trump should never be. First of all, people think Donald Trump is Superman. Those people are what we call cultists. But yeah, I agree with you, Joseph. I just think it's despicable.
I agree. It's very despicable because, I mean, I grew up with Christopher Reeve as a kid. I mean, I saw the Superman films. I mean, he's the reason he inspired me to read comics. And furthermore, Transformers, and of course, Transformers and Yu-Gi-Oh! The thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is it's about making friends, getting along with others, and be a good sport when you're playing a card game. It's not about going to war and striking down people, that sort of thing. I mean,
You're right.
You're
right. I agree with you, Joe. And it's, it's everything that this president does is to benefit him and nobody else. He's talking about gold curtains today in the White House. He's using one of our fallen soldiers to campaign off of that to make money. I mean, listen, just when I think he couldn't stoop to any new lows, he certainly does. Thank you for the call, my friend. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Rajit is next up on PTO. Hello, Rajit.
Hello, how are you doing?
Hi, Rajit.
Hello. I have a question about the Iran war.
Okay.
Like, what are your thoughts on it?
What are my thoughts on the war? I think it's ill-advised and we shouldn't be there. Those are my thoughts on it. And that Donald Trump has committed war crimes. Benjamin Netanyahu has committed war crimes. I don't defend the Iranian government, but we should have never gone into Iran and started another war. I thought we learned our lessons, or they learned their lessons from the Iraq war under George W. Bush. But apparently MAGA Republicans don't care. Yeah, I'm completely against it. I've been against it since day one. In fact, I was against what took place 8 months ago when apparently we obliterated their capabilities.
Very good.
What are your thoughts on the war? What are your thoughts?
I agree with you mostly.
Yeah. Did you
not having to be being there? Like,
yeah.
We are hurting innocent people.
Absolutely, we are. Do you live in America, sir? If you don't mind me asking, where do you live?
Yes, I do.
Are you a Republican, Democrat? Independent?
Kind of like in the middle.
Okay, fair enough. Did you vote in November?
No, I have just moved here.
Oh, okay, I got you. What do you make of Donald Trump in this presidency?
Very bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where are you originally from?
I am from Pakistan.
You are from Pakistan. What do you think most people in Pakistan think of the United States and the president, Donald Trump?
Enemies, like very, very bad.
Yeah. What made you come to the United States?
Freedom of speech, religion,
I tell you what, I think MAGA are impacting that freedom of speech and religion. I feel like if you're not a right-wing evangelical Christian, they think you're a sinner and you're bad, unless you are like them. That's my biggest criticism of religion in general, especially those that are MAGA Republicans. Many of them are Christian, right-wing evangelical Christians. They want 10 commandments in the classroom when many of them break those commandments themselves, and they preach their Christianity while they are not true Christians and they are not true citizens of this country that care about their fellow human being because of color of skin, because of what is between their legs. I don't know. I just think those are our First Amendment rights and religion. I think those are fundamentally being attacked by MAGA Republicans every single day.
So you think that Christians in America are like bad?
No, I would never say and generalize all Christians as being bad. I think there are some wonderful Christians in America. I'm specifically talking about MAGA Republican, right-wing evangelical Christians. Those are the people that I'm talking about. They contradict themselves. They are hypocrites. There are wonderful Christians in this country that think Donald Trump is abhorrent and despicable. There are wonderful Christians in this country that have good family values, wonderful people. Most people who are MAGA Republicans that are right-wing evangelical Christians are hypocrites, and I'm sorry, I don't think they're good people.
Okay.
Thank you for the call, my friend. I appreciate you, and I'm glad you're in this country. We want more people like you here. When I say we, I mean reasonable people, not people like Laura Loomer. We want people like you in this country. We want diversity in this country. That's what makes America great, not idiots who support Donald Trump. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Ramona. Ramona is next on PTL. Hello, Ramona.
Hi, Brian.
Hi.
Yes. Hi. I'm a retired mental health professional, and I'm a fan of Dr. John Garter.
Mm-hmm.
He taught for 20 years at Johns Hopkins Medical Center.
Yep.
And he's on podcasts every now and then. He makes appearances on there. And I saw him on Brooklyn Dad the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something really scary. Brooklyn Dad asked him about, is there anything that can be done about Donald Trump? And he said no. And he said, there's nothing that Donald Trump won't do. And Brooklyn Dad said, well, how bad is our situation?
Yeah.
And Dr. Garter said, well, let's put it this way. He said, the doomsday clock is on 11.
Yeah.
That was his feeling. And that's scary.
Well, I think you have a right to be scared, and I can understand why he would say something like that. Think about this. We're only, a year and a half into this administration, and look at the damage that has already been done. We can talk about ICE. We could talk about tariffs. We could talk about the economy. We could talk about the Epstein files. We could talk about an ill-advised war, some would argue illegal war in Iran, and I don't think it's going to be over in 2 weeks. So there's a lot that we can discuss now, and then I say this, where are we going to be a year from now? Where are we going to be 2 years from now? We have to go through another 2.5 years of this. So,
well,
yeah,
he said that, he said the main issue is not only his mental illness, which is, he has personality disorders, severe personality disorders, but it's also his frontal temporal lobe dementia.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main issue. And he said that what that affects is he cannot control his impulses. Whatever he thinks, he just does.
He's been doing that for a very, very long time. And, any one of these same MAGA mushroom gobblers that were complaining about Joe Biden's health. The one thing I never had to worry about Joe Biden was I know from a human standpoint, he was a man of compassion. When you look at what happened to his wife and his daughter in a car accident when they were younger, it's just tragic. And then, of course, his late son, Beau Biden, who was a hero.
Yes.
And, Joe Biden made some mistakes, and his biggest mistake was not stepping down and giving Kamala Harris a longer opportunity to campaign. And, that was a huge mistake. And quite frankly, I think it's a stain on him. But with that being said, I've always respected the fact that Joe Biden is a man of compassion. I've always said that about him.
Oh, yes.
And when he talks about loss and he talks about grief, I think it resonated with a lot of decent Americans. And I will always respect that about Joe Biden. Donald Trump has no compassion for anybody. If you want to talk about his mental deranged, whatever mush brain that he has. But more importantly, without even getting into the weeds, and by the way, I'm not saying you're wrong. I think you're very right. He's just a really bad guy. He's a horrible human being without even getting in.
He's been that way his entire life.
Yeah, correct. It's not like one day he was charitable and then the next day he turned into a jerk, right? This has been a terrible human being his entire life. He's an awful human being. He's a coward. We know what he was found with E. Jean Carroll, liable for abuse. We know all the women that have come forward. We know what it says in the Epstein files, at least those that have already been released that we've seen. We know who Donald Trump is. He's a snake oil salesman, coward, and a really bad guy. And, unfortunately, there are 70 million Americans who are, in my opinion, at a minimum, complicit. They voted for this guy.
Yes, but I try to stay positive, and I try to encourage people to stay positive. But
it's hard.
I mean,
It's hard.
This man it's very hard.
Yeah.
He's scary. He's scary. Very scary.
He's a dangerous guy. But when he's there all by himself, he's not scary. But when put in a powerful position and all these idiots around him, I agree with you. He is very scary. My dear, I really do appreciate your phone call. Thank you very much. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Maddie. Maddie is next on PTL. Hello, Maddie.
Hey, Brian.
Yes. Hi, Maddie.
Yeah, so I'm actually not from this country. I live in Europe. I'm originally from South Asia.
Okay.
And I've been following your podcast for about 6 months right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I must say I'm a huge fan of yours.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Also, so my I have a lot of family who live in the U.S. who are they were staunch MAGA supporters, and with seeing what Donald Trump has done, especially to the Indian community, we I don't know if you noticed, we are one of the most targeted community, compared to the Somalis in Minnesota. I don't know what's happening in the U.S. right now.
Yeah.
Especially with minorities.
Well, I'll tell you, my friend, and thank you, by the way. I appreciate those kind words. Maddie, I'm worried for people like you. I'm worried for people all over the world, especially you have family and friends that live in the United States that might not be originally from this country. They are under attack. Here I am, a white man. And yes, white people in the United States are privileged. I won the lottery in a sense that I was born in the United States of America, and we have the freedoms to do what many other people in other countries do not have. But the problem is that many people that look like me want America to look like me in the sense of the color of my skin. It was never make America great again. It was make America white again. And that is a threat. And I feel threatened by this president in so many different ways. I can't even imagine what immigrants feel like. I can't even imagine. So obviously, we all have to get through this together one day at a time. And when I say we all have to get through this together, it's not just people who live in this country. It's people all over the world. Because Donald Trump is not only negatively affecting us right here at home, he's affecting people like you. He's affecting people everywhere. We could be talking about tariffs. We could be talking about the war in Iran, which affects a lot of people, some in positive ways. Vladimir Putin, Benjamin Netanyahu, you could make the argument there. But this is obviously a catastrophe, chaos. And I can understand why people in other countries think that there are a lot of dumb people in the United States of America. You know why? Because they're right. That's why.
Yeah, because I have a lot of cousins who nationalized American citizens.
Mm-hmm.
They actually voted for Trump this time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they did it.
Can I ask you this? Your members of your family that you say are MAGA, what is the number one reason when you ask them why they voted for Trump? What do they say?
Basically, during the Joe Biden era, I don't think our country had a good relationship with the United States. But I think after Trump came the second time, I think it has gotten worse right now.
Do they regret their vote? Do they ever tell you they regret their vote?
They absolutely regret everything. They are hardworking immigrants.
Yeah.
They are H-1B visas.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've noticed, people like Laura Loomer and
she's the worst.
Charlie
She thinks
Kirk,
she's the worst. They're racist. They're racist. They think all Muslims should be deported. These are not serious people. They're right-wing grifters who spread hatred and bigotry on social media, and sadly, they make a living doing it. I hate these people. I really do.
They were hating on Zohran Mamdani for no reason, just because they're
horrible,
brown skinned.
Horrible.
I
Horrible.
hate what's happening. By the way, I don't live in the U.S. I live in Europe. I'm a student, but I listen to your show every night.
Wow. Well, that means a lot. Well, let me tell you something. That really means
on behalf of the Indian community. I thank you so much for
Oh well, that's so. And I love the people, Indian people. I've never been to India. I would always love to. I love your food, although it's a little bit too spicy for me at times. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, man. We want people like you in this country. I want people like you in this country,
Yeah.
hardworking people, students. You're going to get your degree. You're going to make something of yourself. You sound like a very intelligent young man. I want people like you here, but I debate MAGA people who don't want people like you. I debate MAGA people that don't even want our borders to be open at all. I mean, it just, these people are insane. It's called bigotry and racism, and I do not tolerate it. And I don't care what these people think about me. And as I've said, I did a video yesterday, and I'll say it again. I don't want these people to like me. I want them to dislike me. I wear it as a badge of honor. If you're still a MAGA supporter and you don't want people like this young man coming to this country, then I don't want you to like me. I wear it as a badge of honor, my friend, and I will always defend people like you. And please keep calling in. I appreciate your call. Okay, sir?
Also, there's one, I have one more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
actually.
Quickly. Go ahead.
So, did you hear about Laura Loomer actually coming to India? And there was actually a conference, journalists, some conference or something, and
I did not.
Actually got blasted.
I didn't hear about that. What would she be doing there? Yeah,
Yeah,
she's such a.
check it out. It's
She's.
super.
I'll check it out.
She got absolutely thrashed by
Good.
the Western journalists.
Good. She deserves it. She's a racist fool. My friend, I appreciate you calling in. It means the world to me. Thank you so much.
Thank
and
you so much.
please
On behalf
call.
of the Indian community,
Thank you
so much for
that.
your.
That means a lot
Thank
to
you so
me.
much.
That really means a lot to me. Thank you, sir, because I do this show for people like you, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Carlos. Carlos is next. Hello, Carlos. Hello, Carlos.
Hello, can you hear me?
Carlos, you're not funny. Get
Can
to
you hear me?
Carlos. Okay, let's pod Carlos down. Carlos, I know that your objective in life is to call into radio shows because it gives you a little bit of a thrill to call in and try to prank radio shows. But let's see. Let me try to give you an opportunity, Carlos. Would you like to talk about something serious today, or are you still going to not, try to crack jokes and prank a political talk show? Carlos, which is it going to be, and what's your real name, by the way? Don't be a coward. Tell me what your real name is. Hello, can you hear me? Carlos, can you? Hello. What's your real name, Carlos? What's your real name? Give it to me now or you're gone. What's your real name?
It's Paul.
Okay, Paul. Okay, Paul. So tell me, when you're driving or when you're listening, wherever platform you're on, you say, hey, I'm going to do something really funny because my life is pathetic and I don't know what else to do with my life, but to call into a political talk show and try to get a laugh and say, hello, do you have anything of any significance you'd like to say, sir? And prove me wrong. Prove to me that you're intelligent. Go ahead, sir. Prove to me that I'm wrong.
Really...
Hello, Earth to Carlos. Hello.
I could not hear you.
Okay.
A few seconds.
Would you like to bring up something semi-intelligent? Have a nice day, Carlos. You're a waste of my time. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you'd like to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Mark. Hey, Mark, what's going on, man? Hi, Mark.
Hi, Brian. Hey, we've been sitting in the car with our air conditioning on, just waiting to hear your dulcet tones.
I appreciate that, Mark. What's on your mind today?
All right, I'll make it quick. I have no idea how much crazy happened between when I called because I can't hear your show when we're waiting. But anyway, really quick, this appeal to authority can be considered a fallacious argument unless you're appealing to a true authority. So like if you're talking climate change and you're referencing actual scientists that work in climate, then that's fine. And then you can do all that. But the guy that called in before I got on the line, he was trying to undermine your argument by saying, well, it's an appeal to authority. And obviously that's a false argument.
That's the argument he gets. That's the argument he gets from Andrew Wilson. So any of these people that are Andrew Wilson fans are absolute clowns. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And here's the funny part is that those people, the only authorities they appeal to are the dumbest ones like Trump. So it's like, okay, so you don't want to appeal to authority unless you can appeal to the dumbest people on the planet.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
You're right, Mark.
Yeah.
And I make that argument almost every single day, my friend. And it's great to hear from you. And I appreciate your call. 702-221-7283, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Dave real quickly. I got about 1 minute for Dave. Dave, go right ahead.
Who's this? Is Brian?
Yeah. What's up, Dave? Go ahead.
Hey, you get some stupid callers all the time.
I do.
I swear.
I do.
You really do. And I feel you. Feel your pain. So, dude, I'm going to tell you something right now. If this idiot president going to get anybody's he's going to get any help from other countries to be involved, to help out on the oil, shipment and all this other crap. And then he says, well, if they don't help me, then I'm going to have to take further action against them. Look, this guy is a loser.
Taco.
He's a big fat pig, and he's disgusting on TV every single day. And I'm sick of him, looking at him because he's a joke.
Yeah.
You know what he reminds me of? Look, you know what he reminds me of? I bet you don't know. Watch. He reminds me of that guy. Remember RoboCop?
I do. I'm running out of time. I do, Dave. And I'm sorry, I'm running out of time. I'll take your call again tomorrow, and I promise I'll give you some more time. But I do remember that. When you were talking about fat pig, boy, there's a lot of other people that you could put in that mix along with Donald Trump. But I guess I'll save that for tomorrow. Hey, for everybody out there that loves what I do, I ask you check out my besides the YouTube page, which is at PTL Radio Show. We appreciate the super chats, of course. Besides that, and besides the YouTube page at PTL Radio Show, Pushing the Limits page, we're now up to 111,000 subs on Facebook. We want to get that up to 200,000 within a few months. We need your help to do that. The Pushing the Limits Facebook fan page. Please check that out. We're going to have a couple people in studio tomorrow that are creators of the No Kings rallies, which will be all over the country. And I believe that'll be a week from Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. So a couple of those organizers are going to be in studio. They're going to take some calls. It's going to be a lot of fun. Please check out my website, which is pushingthelimits.live. And again, that website is pushingthelimits.live. We accept donations, $5, $10, $20 a month, or a one-time donation, pushingthelimits.live. We're still working on getting those shirts out to you guys. Don't be a Trump mushroom gobbler and pod him down. We're working on those 2 shirts. We'll get those up there on the website very, very soon. I love you guys. I love PTL Nation, and I love the fact that we have all these people from all over the world that call into the show every day. It means the world. I have a coughing fit at the end of my show. Better at the end than the beginning. I love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great day, everybody.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point.